It seems the truck finally hit this branch and broke it. So I'm gonna have to do something about this. It's got some life left in it, so let's see if I can get some cuttings from that. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Bonsai Blacksmith. Today we have a skyberry or skyflower tree cutting. This branch was just taken off a tree moments ago. That a truck had just hit. Actually, we lost power as well. So I decided to take this limb and I'm going to cut it and see if I can't get it to root. So let's go make some cuttings. You can see we have a lot of fruit on this tree. That's why it's called the skyberry or skyflower tree. Puts off a nice purple flower. You can see some of them here, kind of just starting. So this is what we have to work with for a trunk. So I'm going to see what I can do to save that area and cut some of these larger branches into cuttings. So we're going to work on this area first. I'm going to do the obvious. Cut off these long runs. I'm going to look for eyes. There's eyes all over these trees. So there's one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this between the two eyes the old-fashioned way. That's one. I'm going to lose a little bit of our counterweight there. Alright, it's time to get the next one. So I'm going to go and roll this over, I hope, without making too much of a mess. Can't really do that with all this fruit on this tree. Look for eyes again. I have a few here. I'm going to go and give it all the chances it has. Give it some extra eyelets to grow from. I'm going to seal all this off with root sealant to protect the tree. Sorry, not root sealant, but the wound sealant. So there's that part. Put this in the pile of cuttings. Now I'm going to break out the less aggressive cutting here. Take the saw and put that away. I like this long shoot for now. It's got new growth on it. I'm just going to go ahead and, for now, just cut that off. That's not going to be cutting, so it's just too small. Get rid of that. Get rid of, this is dead wood. Let's get rid of that now. Very, very hard as it dries. Like a hemlock almost. Take off that dead wood. That's not dead wood. Got to be careful there. So my school of thought on this is to reduce it, but not remove the foliage from this tree. So I'm going to continually to trim this back, like so. Getting rid of the dead wood and very long inner nodes where I can. Again, I want it to grow first before worrying about training it into a bonsai. So that's what I'm going to do. Knocking back some of these now while I can. Where I see new growth, I'm just going to leave it alone for now. Well, this is crossing over itself, so we'd never want that in bonsai anyway. This has been broken, but it's still growing, which is a testament to the tree's vitality. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut that off. That doesn't look like it's going to last. I'll leave the bud that's growing at the base, though. Hopefully we get a new branch from that in the future. Who knows, though? That looks pretty crazy. Hey, we got a friend on here. It's time for you to go, my friend. So here I have it all trimmed up. The best that I'm going to go for now. I'm going to put some wound sealant on these bigger cuts. I'm going to put some root hormone on this now, on the base. So I got my root hormone here. And I have my bucket. So what I'm going to do is make a hole in my hand in the soil. I'm probably going to go down in metric 10 centimeters or so. In imperial measurement, about 5 inches, 4.5 inches, nothing too crazy. This is just composted soil, nothing extra in it, pure compost. So you shake up your, if you got liquid hormone, shake it up. I'm actually just going to apply this with my hand, with my finger. A lot easier. I don't know if you can see that. I'm just going to put it all over there. You could probably just pour a little bit of that. So, you want to rub that all over all the open wounds on this and on the trunk itself. Like so. I'll pour a little bit more on there. Get that in there, make sure it saturates. Again, you want some on the bark itself. That's where the eyes are. Like right here, we have an eye. Want that eye covered with hormone, even if you have to pour it on. Sometimes it's powdered, it's a lot easier to work with, or you can use a paintbrush, but unfortunately my paintbrushes have all walked away on me. All right, so there we go. We've put that on there, the root hormone. And now let's go ahead and see if you can see what I'm saying. No, you cannot. We'll go ahead and just zoom out. I'm going to place this in a small hole, which I just accidentally filled back up. Put this in here like so. And surround it with soil. The soil's already been pre-moistened, so it's already damp soil. You want to press in nice and tight, real tight. You don't want any movement on that cutting as it develops roots. Here I have the cuttings process from the branches I cut off the main piece. And I have the solution of rooting hormone ready to dip each one in. And then I'm going to seal the tops with the wound sealant and place them into these cells here, these seed cells. Okay, so let's start the process. I'll take the big ones here. I've oriented all the bottoms this way and all the tops that way. Sometimes you can draw a little arrow in the side that's going into the dirt to keep track. So I'm just going to do simple swirl in this mixture of rooting hormone. You don't have to do this for especially the more prolific, vigorous plants, but I do it just as insurance policy. And just set it right in here. I'd say go in 1.5 inches to 2 inches, so 5 to 6 centimeters max. I'll get some more soil in that. You can borrow soil from the other cell if you need to. For now, I don't have enough cuttings to fill all 15 cells, so let's take it easy, huh? This is a big guy here. Go ahead and mix it in there. Try not to disturb the cells too much, I suppose. Get that in there as deep as you can, almost. Okay. You want to pack the soil in around the cutting as best you can. Then go to wet this afterwards. This is undampened soil. And I'm going to continue this process until I've got all the cells filled. So just bear with me with that process. I'm going to go ahead and just skip to the end where I'm putting the paste on the end of these. So if you have any questions or comments about this particular species, feel free to put them into the comment section below, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have in regards to this species or any other trees that I'm growing, or even if it's about blacksmithing. So let's skip ahead. So I've put the wound paste on these cuttings here. As you can hear, there's some noise going on behind me today. They're trying to fix the power, which I'm appreciative of. Let's go ahead and focus on this big cutting now. Alright, so apologies for the noise, but it is what it is. So I'm going to focus on this big cutting. I'm going to get the wound sealant on the bigger cuts for now, so it doesn't dry out. That's what I'm going to do here. See if you can... I'm going to lose my cap. It's a cool little tube, just nice little applicator here. You can just spread it around like so. Like that. What this does is keep moisture from leaving the cutting, allowing it more opportunity to grow, allowing the cells, the little stem cells, will either turn into roots or grow into more leaves. In this case, we're focusing more on the root aspect of it, since it's now lacking that. This tree is normally not a tree. This is actually just a large bush. But when it does grow into a tree, the conditions have to be in ideal conditions. It also has to be a very old Skyflower tree. and then you'll get this. So I'm actually going to be very diligent and get all the cuts on this one because I really want this cutting to survive. I really do. I think 2 weeks we'll know if it's living or not. In 2 weeks we should see some new budding. You guys who have been following along with my air layering for the very same tree, the Skyflower, those cuttings, those air layerings are almost done. I'm just giving them a few extra weeks to get some stronger root systems before I go ahead and separate them from the tree. But just above where I did the air layering, I see new shoots coming out. So the tree is already responding to the things that I'm doing to it. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I believe I got all the spots here. So let's take one last look at this tree. So we got all the wound sealant on every cut on this cutting. I left some foliage on top here, which is some of it's sacrificial and some of it's going to be ramification for later. It's got a very well-developed bark that we're trying to save. Really hope this tree cutting survives. All right, so this was an unexpected episode. Had to rescue this very large and old branch that just got broken off by a truck that hit the pole and took out the wires. So they're still working on the electricity in the background, as you can hear throughout the episode. So thanks for bearing with that. Still no power. I just need to seat these cuttings here a little bit better into the soil. Best way to do that is to moisten the soil. That'll allow it to seat better. Now you don't want to spray the sealant on top until it has a chance to dry, so you don't want to hit the tops of the cuttings yet. You'll want to do that like in a few hours once the sun has done its magic. But I'll go ahead and water this down, wet this down, allow that root hormone to take effect, not to let these dry out too much. And that is it for today. Thank you for hanging out with another episode of the Bonsai Blacksmith. And later on this week, I'll go ahead and do those air layering videos so you can see how this particular species is air layered successfully. Until next time.